Welcome to the Ben Dental Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. Well, folks, it looks like tonight is going to be the night Caitlin Clark will be debuting. The Caitlin Clark ones on the court tonight against Angel Reese and the Atlanta Dream. Nike. Is Nike too late? Of course they are. 2 years too late, 3 years too late, 4 years too late, but better late than never, as they say. And the Indiana Fever.
This leads us into some of the most controversial speculation currently rocking the sports world. There is a growing chorus of voices suggesting that Nike and the WNBA are caught in an identity trap. The theory is that because the league is predominantly one demographic, they felt pressured to market other players like Aya Wilson first.
We didn't even get Caitlin Clark apparel until the summer before. After all the records were broken, then they just give us a t-shirt with just records on the back. No creativity, no thought going into it, just writing on the back of a t-shirt, and they sold it. Took Nike 2.5-ish years, 3 years to come out with a logo. Well, it took so long for the logo. Were you guys dragging your ass for the first 2 years of this deal? For the first 3 years of this deal, you guys are just dragging.
Regardless of who is actually moving the needle. It's a move that critics say prioritizes a specific agenda over the basic laws of economics. They'd rather lose money pushing a narrative than make a fortune pushing a star who doesn't fit the look they want to lead the league. It's a high-stakes game of pride that might just end up bankrupting the very momentum they've spent decades trying to build. And it's not just the corporate offices where the friction is visible. It's happening right on the sidelines of the Indiana Fever games. Fans are starting to notice a strange vibe between Caitlin and her own coaching staff. There are rumors of internal suppression, where the very team that drafted her seems to be trying to rein her in, rather than letting her play the fast-paced, deep three style that made her a household name. When she showed up to a game recently wearing a shirt that said, "Shoot more threes," it felt like a silent protest against the system.
To be ahead of CC. What is going on? This is what happens when you suppress your star player. Stop voting for opposing player. Their fans don't vote for us. Indiana Fever have damaged Caitlin's brand. This is very sad. Leave it to the Indiana Fever organization to celebrate Caitlin Clark being at 5th. No way Caitlin only has 253,000 votes. Show this to Steph so she can understand why she...
That's trying to turn a Ferrari into a minivan. The fans see it, the analysts see it, and the tension is becoming impossible to ignore. This muzzling of a generational talent is having a catastrophic effect on the numbers that actually matter. While the media tries to paint a picture of a league on the rise, the latest All-Star voting data tells a much darker story. Last year, Caitlin was pulling in over 500,000 votes with ease. This year, that number has been slashed nearly in half. Viewership is beginning to wobble, and attendance isn't the automatic sellout it was just a few months ago. It turns out that when you treat your biggest draw like a problem to be solved rather than a gift to be celebrated, the audience eventually gets the hint and starts tuning out. The narrative of veteran jealousy has also moved from a quiet whisper to a roar. We've all seen the hard fouls and the "welcome to the league" moments, but lately it feels less like competition and more like gatekeeping. There are whispers that the old guard of the WNBA isn't interested in the new money Caitlin brings if it means they have to share the spotlight with someone who doesn't pay their dues in the traditional way. But the reality is that the fans didn't come to see dues being paid. They came to see greatness. By trying to humble their biggest star, the league might...
Woke agenda before we put Caitlin Clark. We'll lose money pushing the agenda, then make money pushing Caitlin Clark. It makes no sense, but it's the truth. It makes no sense, but it's the truth. I was watching Behind the Line earlier today. Nike stock was hovering around $115, maybe even more over 10 years ago, and now we're sitting around $50, less than $50. They could have pulled this trigger a long time ago, and they
be accidentally humbling its own future. What's truly shocking is how blatant the fumble has become. If you look at how other leagues handle their superstars, the way the NBA protected LeBron or the way the NFL markets Mahomes, it's night and day. In those leagues, the star is the business. In the WNBA, it feels like the star is an inconvenience. The Indiana Fever organization has even been accused of calling their own fans bots or conspiracy theorists when they point out these obvious flaws. It's a bizarre strategy, insulting the very people who are buying the tickets and the jerseys, all to protect a management structure that seems out of its depth. As the season progresses, the question isn't whether Caitlin Clark can handle the pressure. She's proven she can. The question is whether the league can handle her. We are watching a historic tug-of-war between a player who wants to change the world and a system that seems terrified of change. If the All-Star votes continue to plummet and the Nike fumble continues to drain the brand's value, we might be looking at the greatest what if in the history of women's sports. What if the WNBA was given a golden ticket and decided to throw it away because they didn't like the person who handed it to them? Ultimately, the debut of the CC1S should have been the start of a new era. Instead, it feels like a reminder of everything that's going wrong behind the scenes. Whether it's corporate wokeness, killing profit margins, or veteran jealousy killing the on-court product, the red flags are everywhere. The fans are beginning to realize that the shocking truth isn't that Caitlin Clark isn't good enough, it's that the system might be too broken to let her be great. As we look toward the rest of the season, one thing is certain: the world is watching, but they're starting to lose patience with a league that seems determined to get in its own way. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, if you were in charge of $1 billion brand and you had a once-in-a-lifetime talent in your hands, would you do everything to help them win? Or would you be like the WNBA and Nike, and wait until the fire has already started to die down before you finally decide to bring the fuel? The answer to that question will determine the fate of the sport for the next 20 years. And right now, the answer isn't looking good for the fans who just wanted to see a girl from Iowa change the game forever.